Greetings, my dear 1000 PS TV viewers. In case any of you have been wondering what Husqvarna or the KTM Group or the Pierer Group are actually planning with the Svartpilen and Vitpilen models, is there something bigger to come? I can tell you now, yes, something bigger is coming. The Husqvarna Svartpilen 801 2024 is coming, so it will actually be available soon. It's waiting in the wings. Unfortunately, I don't know the price yet, but I can already tell you about the technical features of this model. And of course, because I'm always interested in what a bike like this looks like, I'd like to philosophize briefly about the look. Please write in the comments whether you agree with me or whether you say, what's wrong with him? What kind of views does he have? I think it looks interesting. Interesting is a polite word because I'm sure there will be many people who say, oh my God, that's really boring. And I have to admit, I would have liked there to have been some kind of yellow accent in there, like there is now on the Vitpilen 701. In the end, I think it was a blue-silver color, looked insanely cool. Okay, the Svartpilen black arrow, it's obviously just supposed to be completely black with a bit of matte black elements. But apart from that, I think it's a great shape. This tank, I love the fact that it stretches so far out at the top. I also really like the retro round headlight. As you can see, it now has a 5-inch color TFT display. So the 701 LCDs, which were really hard to read, are fortunately history. What I also really like, for example, is the exhaust, which reminds me a bit of a sandworm from Dune, like the mouth with the teeth up at such an angle, it looks really cool. The rear end itself, that long boom for the indicators and the number plate, I don't really like that. The rear end itself with the rear light, that's just typical Svartpilen, but I've never really liked it. Well, of course we could discuss design for hours now, although I'm only discussing it with myself. Well, it looks the way it looks, and I still find it interesting. But of course, it's probably more interesting for you now if I refer to the technical features, or rather features are relative. This Svartpilen 801 is based on a motorcycle that KTM has already produced. I would say that the 790 Duke was the inspiration because it is the 799cc inline 2-cylinder. In the Svartpilen, it now has 105 horsepower. Okay, the 790 Duke now only has 95 horsepower so that you can clear this A2 hurdle because it can have a maximum of 96 horsepower in order to be throttled down to 48. In other words, you can't do that with 105 horsepower. In reality, it can't be the previous 790 Duke, which had 105 horsepower. But that wasn't Euro 5 plus compliant, which the Svartpilen 801 is. So it will be a good mixture of these engines, which, it has to be said, KTM has on the shelf. And yes, the whole thing weighs 181 kilos and is certainly very maneuverable, very agile. When I look at the handlebars, they are extreme, not extreme, but as you would expect from a supermoto style naked bike, they are mounted very high. Pirelli MT 60 RS tires are strapped to it, which I think is actually appropriate. That's not a misunderstanding of the theme. It goes well with the bike. A chromoly frame is used to support the engine. The WP Apex adjustable suspension, front suspension travel 140, rear 150 millimeters. It suits a scrambler motorcycle like this. It should be more in the direction of comfort than super firm and crisp. Electronics, yes, of course, typical KTM Group, lots on board, 4 selectable riding modes, street, rain, sport, and an optional dynamic mode. I'm not sure whether this is included as standard, but of course it's typical of the KTM Group to have an optional dynamic pack. Costs something, of course, 10 levels of engine drag, torque control, or engine slip control is what they call it, and 5 levels for the anti-wheelie function. Cruise control would also be included in the optional dynamic pack, but big praise to Husqvarna and the KTM Group for doing the quick shifter as standard easy shift it is called, for shifting up and down. Lean angle dependent traction control and cornering ABS are what I would expect from a motorcycle from the KTM Group in this class. And of course, ride-by-wire control so that everything works really smoothly and well. And the standard connectivity provides turn-by-turn navigation and can clearly be connected to a cell phone. You can make phone calls and select music. Yes, well, let me say, it does seem to be a bit better equipped than its KTM counterpart, the Husqvarna Svartpilen 801. Of course, that's all about the looks. If you like it, then you'll be thrilled and say, that's exactly what I wanted, that's exactly what I've been waiting for. I'm looking forward to finally being able to buy it from the Husqvarna dealer. And if you say, oh God, that's horrible, then it's horrible. But I think these Husqvarna things are either really cool or not at all. So in between that, you say, well, I don't really care. I don't think many people will care about this bike. That's good. Typical Kiska. Once again, they've put a motorcycle on wheels that, yes, doesn't polarize because it doesn't look that bad. But as I said, I would have liked a little more splashes of color. Yes, we'll have to see. Maybe there will be a Svartpilen 801. I don't know yet. But for now, thank you for listening and watching. Please subscribe to our 1000 PS YouTube channel and give the Husqvarna Svartpilen 801 a thumbs up. Share the video with friends because I think this bike is worth a lot of people talking about it. Yes. And as I always say goodbye,